This is Jason Teixeira J's property. I'm so sorry if I messed up the last name. But we are going to be doing a cleanup for this retaining wall section. And the cleanup is going to include knocking down all the weeds and raking them out. There's some dog waste in there, so we'll have to go through and clear all the dog waste first. And then there are some like blocks and things up on the retaining wall. As part of the job, we are going to move all of that aside, but we won't be hauling that. If it needs to be hauled, we could do a separate quote for that. But yeah, just going through, knocking down all of the weeds, and then there are some plants, some volunteers that need to get removed, and as I'll just walk through right now and point them out. So there are crepe myrtles that need to stay, and they seem like they're planted about 12 to 20 feet apart. So we're going to leave all the crepe myrtles, and between the crepe myrtles there are plants like this that also are multi-trunked that we're going to leave. And then there are volunteers like this one right here. So I'm going to get up there and just walk through and point all of them out to make sure we get the right plants. So that right there is a crepe myrtle, and then this right here is a volunteer that we're just going to cut down straight to the ground. And right next to it is another plant, and this is what the leaves look like, so we could identify. We don't want to remove this plant, we just need to trim up the bottom branches to clean it up and leave it alone. So there's another volunteer right here. Looks like a purple robe growing through, and so we're going to remove that. I'm going to point it here. Right there, it goes all the way up, so we're going to remove that. There's that crepe myrtle. We're going to leave the crepe myrtle. And this is the other plant that we're going to leave as well. So multi-trunk next to the crepe myrtle. We're going to remove the bottom branches to clean it up. There's a hawthorn, Indian hawthorn. We're just going to shape this up a little bit. It's fine the way it is. We're going to leave that. Crepe myrtle stays. Breath of heaven stays. Another crepe myrtle. And it's pretty steep, but there is kind of a bit of a trail here that you could stand on. So this shrub here, we're just going to trim it a little bit and then leave it. Looking here, this is a volunteer right here, and then underneath it is a plant that we can leave. That's a shrub. This ornamental grass that's growing up onto the crepe myrtle, we're going to cut it all the way down. Everything around this crepe myrtle, we're just going to clear this out. So this is a volunteer right here. This looks like an oak volunteer. There's another live oak volunteer. We're going to cut this straight down to the ground. Another hawthorn. We're just going to trim this, and then going around this way, I know it's tight here, but as we go around it, there is a vine here. We're going to do our best to string trim it and knock it down. We don't want this vine taking over the plants. And then right here, there's another crepe myrtle with the vine growing up. We're not going to untangle the vines from the plants all the way up, but we'll just kind of clear the bottom 3 feet of the plant to make sure that the vine doesn't keep growing onto the tree. There's a plant here we're going to leave. There's a big old plant here. We are going to leave this one, but see, the vines are kind of growing onto it, so we'll just kind of separate the vines from it and get rid of the vines, but leave this plant. Another crepe myrtle, and then there is Texas privet right next to it. We're going to leave the privet alone. That's the one with the white flowers on it, and then there's some vines growing up to this crepe myrtle. We're going to remove the vines. There's that other multi-trunk tree. We're going to leave it. It's kind of leaning over here like this, so we're going to cut back some of these branches. Volunteer. This is a loropetalum. We're just going to shape it up. There's a shrub behind it. We're going to leave alone. But this right here, this big mass, is a rose vine, and it's just kind of spread out way too wide. So we're going to come in with the hedge trimmer and prune it back just the size of it as far as we can to the fence, and then leave it alone. Another loropetalum here. We're just gonna shape it up, and then we're gonna go in here, and there is a vine, and then those sticking up right there are volunteers. We're gonna cut that all the way down. So all this by the fence here, we're gonna clear it so that all that's left is this loropetalum and that rose vine. So this is what the property looks like from this angle. I know that was really close up, but so after we do the string trimming, clear everything out, haul away the green waste, we'll do a separate quote for laying down landscape fabric in this retaining wall, and then we'll also recommend putting down like an erosion netting on top of that landscape fabric, so that when the clients do put some kind of mulch in here, it'll help hold the mulch down so it doesn't just slide off. And that's it.